This guide will show you how to map a guitar controller in Guitar Scratch. To start off, you're obviously going to need your guitar controller, some way to connect it to your device, and you either need to be playing the game on Turbo Warp or have the Scratch add-ons browser extension installed. Before attempting to map the guitar controller, it's best to make sure that it's actually being recognized. Make sure your controller is plugged in, and press a button on it. If you see this controller icon in the player controls, then you're good to go. You can even click it just to make sure that your guitar is actually being recognized. If you don't see this button, then go to your add-on settings, and make sure the Gamepad Support add-on is enabled, and enable it if it isn't already. If you still don't see the controller icon, then let me know in the comments. Make sure to tell me what guitar controller you have and how you're connecting it to your device, and I'll see how I can help. With the guitar ready to go, we can start mapping. If you're using a stock Xbox 360 guitar like this Explorer I have here, you should be ready to play the game already, as that's the default mapping. If you changed your keybinds before then, you'll need to go to the keybinds menu and click this button to reset them to the default binds, and type yes when prompted. If you are not using an Xbox 360 guitar, go to the keybinds menu and map the guitar as follows. If you're using a Rock Band guitar, make sure to use the larger fret buttons when mapping and not the smaller solo fret buttons. I'll explain why in a bit. To map an input, click the one you want to map, and press the corresponding button on your guitar controller. If you're asked to replace an existing binding, go ahead and type yes. Map all inputs as follows. Map the green fret to green. Map the red fret to red. Map the yellow fret to yellow. Map the blue fret to blue. Map the orange fret to orange. The upstrum and downstrum inputs map to the corresponding position of the strum bar when holding the guitar right-handed. If you hold the guitar left-handed, you'll want to strum in the opposite direction, so you strum down to map upstrum, and vice versa. Playing the game with lefty flip enabled will invert the strum direction anyways, so we'll all cancel out. Map the select button, or minus button on Wii guitars, to overdrive. And finally, push the whammy bar all the way to map it to whammy. The next mappings are not required, but can be used to enhance the game experience. To map the guitar tilt, click the tilt button, hold the guitar as close to level as possible, press any button, and finally tilt your guitar upwards, like here. If you're using a Rock Band guitar, you may want to map the solo modifier. When you press one of these smaller frets on a Rock Band guitar, the guitar actually sends two buttons. The first button is, of course, the actual fret you pressed. The second button is what we like to call the solo modifier. This is how Rock Band games can tell which set of frets you're using, and in those games you can use the solo frets to hit notes in solo sections without strumming. They also work for big rock endings. Guitar Scratch also supports this behavior and thus allows you to map this solo modifier. This is also why I encouraged you to use the larger fret buttons to map the frets in-game. To map the solo modifier, first use the larger fret buttons to map the frets in-game, if you haven't already. Then, click the solo modifier button, type yes when prompted, and press one of the solo frets. The game is smart enough to determine which button is the solo modifier, but only if the frets were mapped correctly beforehand, which is why we have to map the frets first. And there we have it. Your guitar is now fully mapped for use in Guitar Scratch. If you have any questions or issues, let me know in the comments on the game's project page. Or if you're 13 years of age or older, leave a comment on this video or join my Discord server link below. Make sure to tell me what guitar controller you're using, and how you're connecting it to your device, and I'll try my best to help you out. You can also use this page, which is also linked in the description, for help with identifying which guitar controller you have and how to connect it to your computer. Have fun!